You would believe me if I told you that a street kid saved the life of an arrogant rich guy? Seems crazy, right? But what happened after that will shock you even more. In a society where some people step on the poor without a second thought, this story turns the tables in a way no one expected. Tyler, a young boy with tired but determined eyes, rummaged through alleys in search of something to eat. His stomach growled, reminding him that it had been 2 days since his last decent meal. The bright lights of an upscale restaurant caught his attention. The tempting aroma of gourmet food made his stomach protest even louder. Tyler hesitated for a moment, his trembling hand fixing his messy hair before he approached the back entrance. "Excuse me," he called timidly. "Is there anything left that you could donate?" The chef, a middle-aged man with an imposing mustache, looked at Tyler with a mix of pity and irritation. "Get out of here, kid. We can't feed all the beggars in the city." Tyler lowered his head, ready to walk away, when an arrogant voice stopped him. "Hey, wait a second." A group of well-dressed teenagers was coming out through the front door of the restaurant. The leader among them, Ethan, a boy with perfectly styled blonde hair and designer clothes, stared at Tyler with a mischievous grin. "You want food, right?" Ethan asked, shaking a bag of leftovers in front of Tyler. Tyler's stomach twisted with hunger and shame. He knew he was about to be humiliated, but the hunger spoke louder. "Yes, please," he murmured. Ethan laughed, looking at his friends. "Well, how about a deal? You can have this food if..." Tyler closed his eyes, bracing for the worst. But before Ethan could finish his proposal, a feminine voice interrupted him. "Ethan, what do you think you're doing?" A girl with dark hair and gentle eyes approached the group. It was Sophia, Ethan's classmate, known for her involvement in social projects. "Come on, Sophia. We're just having a little fun," Ethan replied, awkwardly. Sophia ignored Ethan and turned to Tyler. "Hey, are you okay? Do you need help?" Tyler, surprised by the unexpected kindness, simply nodded silently. "Here," Sophia said, taking the bag of food from Ethan and handing it to Tyler. "Please accept this. No strings attached, okay?" Tyler took the bag with trembling hands, his eyes welling up with gratitude. "Thank you," he whispered. Ethan huffed, visibly irritated. "You're ruining the fun, Sophia. He probably doesn't even deserve that food." Sophia shot a sharp look at Ethan. "No one deserves to go hungry, Ethan. Maybe you should think a bit about the privilege you have." Sophia's words hung in the air, creating an uncomfortable silence. Tyler seized the opportunity to quickly walk away, disappearing into the shadows of the alleys he knew so well. As he walked, Tyler reflected on the encounter. Sophia's kindness had been a ray of light in his dark life, but Ethan's cruel words echoed in his mind. Why did some people have so much while others struggled to survive? Tyler arrived at his home, an old abandoned building where he and other homeless youth found shelter. Inside, an unlikely community formed. Children and teenagers of different ages and backgrounds, united by the need for survival. "Tyler, you got food!" exclaimed Max, a 12-year-old boy with a gap-toothed smile. Tyler smiled, sharing the food among those present. "Yes, I got a bit lucky today." As they ate, Tyler recounted his encounter with Ethan and Sophia. Reactions ranged from anger to sadness, but everyone agreed that Sophia's kindness was rare. "You know," said Lisa, a 14-year-old girl with colorful braids, "sometimes I think these rich kids don't even imagine what our lives are like here." Tyler nodded, thoughtful. "That's true. They live in a completely different world." Little did they know that their lives were about to intertwine in a way no one could predict. In the following weeks, Tyler continued his routine of survival on the streets. He occasionally saw Sophia from a distance, always involved in some community project. His heart warmed at the memory of her kindness, though he never had the courage to approach her again. One day, while rummaging through dumpsters behind a shopping center, Tyler heard a commotion nearby. Instinctively hiding, he watched an alarming scene unfold. Ethan, the rich kid from the restaurant, was being forced into a dark van by two men who looked threatening. Ethan's face was pale with fear, his eyes wide in silent panic. Tyler felt his heart race. He knew what was happening. A kidnapping. For a brief moment, a part of him thought about ignoring the situation. After all, Ethan had been nothing but cruel to him. But then Sophia's voice echoed in his mind, "No one deserves to go hungry." And Tyler realized, no one deserved to go through this either, no matter how arrogant they were. With a newfound determination, Tyler discreetly followed the van, using his knowledge of the streets and shortcuts around the city. He knew he couldn't confront the kidnappers alone, but he also knew exactly who could help. Tyler ran back to the abandoned building, gathering his street friends. "Guys, I need your help," he panted, quickly explaining the situation. "Wait a minute," Max interrupted. "You want us to help that jerk who tried to humiliate you?" Tyler paused, carefully considering his next words. "Look, I know he was cruel, but this is different. No one deserves to go through something like this. And maybe this is a chance to show that we are better than they think." There was a tense moment of silence before Lisa spoke up. "Tyler is right. We can't be like them. Let's do this." With a quickly devised plan, the group of street kids spread out across the city. They were the invisible eyes and ears of the streets, able to blend in and observe without being noticed. Meanwhile, in an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city, Ethan trembled in fear. Tied to a chair, he listened as the kidnappers discussed the ransom they would demand from his family. "Your parents are going to pay a fortune to get you back, kid," one of the men laughed, his cigarette breath making Ethan shrink back. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt truly powerless. All his money, all his arrogance, none of it mattered now. He was alone, scared, and at the mercy of cruel strangers. As the hours dragged by, Ethan began to reflect on his life. He remembered how he had treated Tyler and others less fortunate. Shame consumed him, mixing with fear. If he made it out of this, he promised himself he would be different. Outside, Tyler and his friends had located the warehouse. They watched from a distance, carefully planning their next move. "Okay, guys," Tyler whispered. "Remember the plan. Max and Lisa, you're going to create a distraction. I'm going in to try to get Ethan out. Are you sure you want to do this alone?" Lisa asked, concerned. Tyler nodded, determined. "I do. The fewer people inside, the less chance someone gets hurt." As Max and Lisa prepared for their part, Tyler crept to the back of the warehouse. He found a broken window and carefully slipped into the building. The interior was dark and dusty. Tyler moved silently, guided by the muffled sounds of voices. He reached a hallway and saw a slightly open door from which a faint light was coming. At that moment, a deafening noise erupted from outside. Max and Lisa had started their distraction, knocking over piles of cans and shouting as if they were an enraged mob. The kidnappers, alarmed, ran to check the commotion. Tyler seized the opportunity and quickly entered the room where Ethan was. Ethan's eyes widened when he saw Tyler. "You!" he whispered, incredulous. "Shoo!" Tyler motioned, quickly untying Ethan. "We don't have much time. Can you walk?" Ethan nodded, still too shocked to speak. Tyler guided him out of the room, through a maze of dark hallways. They could hear the kidnappers shouting outside, confused by the distraction. When they finally escaped the warehouse through a back door, Tyler pulled Ethan behind some rusty containers. "Wait here," he whispered. "I'll check if it's safe." Ethan grabbed Tyler's arm. Why are you helping me?" he asked, his voice trembling. Tyler looked into Ethan's eyes, seeing for the first time not the arrogant kid from the restaurant, but a scared and vulnerable teenager. "Because it's the right thing to do," he replied simply. At that moment, sirens began to wail in the distance. Lisa and Max had managed to alert the police anonymously. Tyler smiled, relieved. "Come on, help is on the way. You'll be safe soon." As the lights of the police cars approached, Tyler prepared to disappear into the shadows, as he always did. But Ethan held on to him again. "Wait," Ethan said, tears in his eyes. I'm sorry for what I did before. I was an idiot." Tyler hesitated, surprised by the sincerity in Ethan's voice. "It's okay," he replied softly. "Just try to be better from now on, okay?" Before Ethan could respond, the police arrived. In the chaos that followed, with Ethan being rescued and the kidnappers captured, Tyler silently slipped away into the night. In the days that followed, the story of the kidnapping and the mysterious rescue dominated local headlines. Ethan, now safe at home, couldn't stop thinking about Tyler and the other street youths who had saved him. A week after the incident, Ethan asked his parents to accompany him on a visit to a shelter for homeless youth. There, to his surprise, he found Sophia volunteering. "Ethan," Sophia exclaimed, surprised to see him there. "What are you doing here?" Ethan took a deep breath, gathering courage. I want to help. For real this time." "You were right, Sophia. I never truly understood the privilege I have." Sophia smiled, genuinely touched by Ethan's change. "Well, we always need volunteers. Why not start today?" As Ethan joined Sophia to serve meals, his eyes scanned the room, searching for a familiar face. And there, at the back of the line, he saw Tyler. Their eyes met, and for a moment, time seemed to freeze. Ethan felt a lump in his throat, overwhelmed by gratitude and remorse. He wanted to run over, to thank Tyler properly, to apologize again and again. But Tyler simply gave him a small nod and a hint of a smile, as if to say, "It's okay. You're on the right path now." Ethan returned the smile, tears in his eyes, and turned his attention back to the task at hand. He knew he had a long way to go to redeem himself, but he was determined to make a difference. In the weeks and months that followed, a remarkable transformation took place. Ethan, once known for his arrogance, became a passionate advocate for homeless youth. He used his influence and his family's resources to create education and employment programs for young people living on the streets. Tyler, in turn, found in Ethan an unexpected ally. Together, they worked to build bridges between two worlds that had once seemed irreconcilable. Tyler became a leader in the community, inspiring other young people to believe in a better future. 1 year after the kidnapping, Tyler and Ethan stood side by side, cutting the ribbon for a new community center. The building, funded by Ethan's family and designed with the help of Tyler and his friends, would provide shelter, education, and opportunities for homeless youth. As the crowd applauded, Ethan turned to Tyler. "You know," he said, "that night changed everything for me. You could have left me there after how I treated you, but you chose to save me. Why?" Tyler smiled, looking at the plaque on the community center that bore the name, Second Chance. He took a deep breath before answering, "Because we all deserve a second chance, Ethan. That night, I didn't see the arrogant kid from the restaurant. I saw someone scared, in need of help. And I realized that if I ignored that, I wouldn't be any better than those who ignored me on the streets for so long." Ethan nodded, his eyes misty. "You taught me more that night than I learned in years of expensive school." Their conversation was interrupted by Sophia, who approached with a big smile. "You two, stop whispering over here. We have a center to officially open." The three laughed, sharing a moment of camaraderie that would have seemed impossible a year ago. As they walked to join the crowd, Tyler couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought him here. He remembered the cold nights on the streets, the days of hunger, the desperation that often threatened to consume him. But he also remembered the small acts of kindness, like Sophia's that night in the restaurant, that kept him going. The community center was more than just a building. It was a symbol of transformation, not only for Tyler and Ethan, but for the entire community. It was a living proof that people could change, that the barriers between different worlds could be broken down. As Tyler prepared to give his speech, he saw familiar faces in the crowd. Max, Lisa, and other young people who once lived on the streets with him were now dressed in the center's staff uniforms. They had been the first to receive training and employment through the programs initiated by Ethan. Tyler cleared his throat and began to speak. "A year ago, I was invisible to most people in this city. I was just another nameless face on the streets, someone to be avoided or ignored. Today, I stand before you, no longer invisible, but as a living reminder that every person has value, has potential." He paused, his eyes finding Ethan's in the crowd before continuing. "This center is not just about providing shelter or food. It's about restoring dignity. It's about showing every young person who walks through these doors that they matter, that their lives have meaning. It's about second chances, not only for those who need help but also for those who can offer that help." Tyler's voice trembled slightly as he continued. "I used to think the world was divided into two parts, those who had everything and those who had nothing. But I learned that the true division lies between those who care and those who choose not to see. This center is a bridge between these two worlds, a place where we can all meet as equals and learn from one another." Ethan, moved by Tyler's words, stepped onto the stage and took the microphone. "Tyler is being modest," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "He talks about second chances, but the truth is he gave me much more than that. He showed me a world I chose to ignore for so long. He taught me the true meaning of courage, compassion, and integrity." Ethan turned to Tyler, tears in his eyes. "You didn't just save my life that night, Tyler. You saved my humanity." The crowd erupted in emotional applause. Sophia, who was nearby, couldn't hold back her tears. She remembered that night at the restaurant, how a simple act of kindness had triggered a series of events that culminated in this extraordinary moment. When the applause died down, Tyler took the microphone again. "This center is called Second Chance for a reason. It's not just about giving a second chance to those who need help. It's also about giving a second chance to our society. A chance to be better, to see each other as we truly are, all human, all deserving of respect and dignity." He paused, looking at each face in the crowd before concluding. "May this center be a constant reminder that no one is invisible. May it be a beacon of hope for those who feel lost. And may it inspire each of us to be the change we want to see in the world." With those words, Tyler cut the ribbon, officially inaugurating the Second Chance Community Center. The crowd erupted in applause once again, many with tears in their eyes. In the months and years that followed, the center became a model of success, inspiring similar initiatives in other cities. Tyler, Ethan, and Sophia continued to work together, expanding their programs and reaching out to more and more young people. The story of the homeless boy who became a hero and the rich boy who learned humility spread, touching hearts and changing perspectives. They became living symbols that true transformation is possible, that social barriers can be broken down, and that compassion has the power to change lives. On a quiet afternoon, years later, Tyler sat in his office at the community center, looking out the window at the city that once treated him as invisible. A soft smile played on his lips as he reflected on his journey. A gentle knock on the door pulled him from his thoughts. It was Max, now a young adult, coordinator of one of the center's education programs. "Hey Tyler," Max said, entering the room. "We have a new group coming in today. I thought you'd like to meet them." Tyler stood up, his smile widening. "Of course, let's go." As they walked through the hallways of the center, Tyler couldn't help but feel a wave of gratitude. Every face they passed, every smile they received, was a reminder of the power of a second chance. When they arrived at the reception room, Tyler saw a group of young people, their eyes filled with the same mix of fear and hope he once felt. He approached them, extending his hand in welcome. "Hello, everyone," he said gently. "My name is Tyler, and this is your second chance. Let's make the most of it together." And so the story continued, one chapter at a time, proving that even in the most unlikely circumstances, compassion can bloom, redemption is possible, and that no one, no matter how invisible they may seem, is beyond the reach of hope. As the years passed, the Second Chance Community Center became a beacon of hope in the city. Tyler, now 30 years old, continued to be the beating heart of the institution, always seeking new ways to help those whom society often forgets. One autumn morning, Tyler was in his office reviewing some reports when Ethan walked in, a mysterious smile on his face. "Tyler, I have a surprise for you," Ethan announced, barely containing his excitement. Tyler raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What is it this time? Another scholarship program? Or did you finally convince the mayor to support our housing initiative?" Ethan laughed, shaking his head. "Better. Much better. Come with me." Curious, Tyler followed Ethan to the center's auditorium. Upon opening the doors, he was greeted by a burst of applause. The hall was filled with familiar faces. Young people who had passed through the center over the years, now successful adults, along with volunteers, staff, and supporters. On stage, a large banner read, "10 Years of Second Chances, Tribute to Tyler Johnson." Tyler was stunned, an overwhelming wave of emotion engulfing him. Sophia approached him, hugging him warmly. "Surprise!" she exclaimed. "Did you really think we would let the 10th anniversary of the center and everything you've done go by unnoticed?" Still dazed, Tyler was gently led to the stage. There, a series of people began to share stories about how the center, and Tyler personally, had changed their lives. Max, now the director of educational programs, was the first to speak. "I was just a scared kid on the streets when I met Tyler. He not only offered me a safe place to sleep, but showed me that I could be more than my past. Today, thanks to him, I'm here helping other young people find their way." Lisa, who became a social worker, spoke next. "Tyler taught us that compassion is not weakness. It's the greatest strength we can have. He transformed not only our lives, but this entire community." One by one, former homeless residents, now successful professionals, took to the stage to tell their stories. Doctors, teachers, entrepreneurs, everyone united by their gratitude to Tyler and the center that had given them a second chance. Finally, it was Ethan's turn to speak. He approached the microphone, his voice choked with emotion. 10 years ago, I was a spoiled kid who thought the world revolved around me. Tyler not only saved my life, he saved my soul. He taught me the true meaning of humanity, of empathy. Tyler, you didn't just change my life. You changed who I am as a person." Ethan paused, wiping away a tear before continuing. "And the most incredible thing is that the story of transformation we share is not unique. Look around this room. Hundreds of transformed lives. Thousands of second chances given. All because a young man who had every reason to be bitter chose to be compassionate. Tyler, you are the true hero of this city." The audience erupted into deafening applause. With tears in his eyes, Tyler was invited to speak. Trembling slightly, he approached the microphone. I don't know what to say," he began, his voice hoarse with emotion. "When I started this journey, I was just a street kid trying to survive. I never imagined I would be here today, surrounded by so many amazing people." He paused, looking at the faces in the crowd. "You speak of me as a hero, but the truth is that each of you is a hero. Every person in this room who chose to rise when they fell, who reached out to help another when they themselves were still struggling. You are the true heroes." Tyler took a deep breath before continuing. "This center, this community that we've built together, proves that it doesn't matter where we come from or how difficult our past was. What matters are the choices we make today, the compassion we show each other. His voice gained strength as he spoke. 10 years ago, we were invisible to society. Today, we are here, visible, strong, and united. We have proven that second chances are not just about starting over, but about completely rewriting our story. Tyler looked directly at Ethan and Sophia. And to both of you, who have been with me from the beginning, I have no words to express my gratitude. You have shown me that kindness can come from the most unexpected places, and that together we can move mountains. Concluding his speech, Tyler said, "This center is not about me. It's about us. About the power of community, of compassion, of the unwavering belief in human potential. May the next 10 years be even more transformative. May we continue to be light for one another, to offer second chances, to believe in the impossible." The ensuing ovation was deafening. Tyler was enveloped in a collective embrace, tears of joy and gratitude flowing freely. That night, as the celebration continued, Tyler stepped away for a moment, going to the window of his old room in the center. Looking out at the streets that were once his home, he reflected on the incredible journey he had traveled. From an invisible boy on the streets to a celebrated hero of the community, Tyler realized that his true strength had always been in his ability to see the potential in every person, to offer hope when everything seemed lost. A gentle touch on his shoulder brought him back to the present. It was Sophia, smiling gently. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. Tyler smiled, his eyes shining with a mix of gratitude and determination. "I'm thinking about all the lives we can still touch, all the second chances we can still offer," he replied. "Our journey is far from over, Sophia. In fact, I feel like we're just getting started." Sophia nodded, understanding perfectly. Together, they returned to the celebration, ready to face the challenges and opportunities that the coming years would bring. The story of Tyler, Ethan, and the Second Chance Community Center would continue to inspire generations, a powerful reminder that compassion, perseverance, and belief in human potential can truly change the world, one life at a time. And so, the boy who was once invisible on the streets became a beacon of hope, proving that sometimes, the greatest transformations begin with the smallest acts of kindness. Tyler's journey was a living testimony that no matter how dark the night may be, there is always the possibility of a new dawn. Did you enjoy this incredible story? Then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss more stories like this. Leave your like to support our work and share this powerful lesson of empathy and overcoming with your friends. And now, here's the question. Would you have the courage to help someone who humiliated you, just like Tyler did? Let us know in the comments. We want to hear your opinion.